Hello and welcome to week 13 of Jazz Pop and Rock. Hard to believe our second listening exam is just 2 weeks away, but here we are. The study guide will be posted by Friday of this week, and the review video will be up early next week to give you as much opportunity to interact with the content as possible. As a reminder, the video will be taken down the night before the exam at midnight, so make sure you have watched by that time to get help with the study guide answers. This week we are going to speak again about one of the most beloved and important genres to come out of America, but are going to highlight the oft-forgotten idols, the female legends of hip-hop. For those that have taken this class previously, we focused on more modern artists like Rhapsody, and she actually joins our documentary team as the narrator for the series. That series that you are responsible for watching this week is going to be called Ladies First, A Story of Women in Hip-Hop on Netflix, and you are responsible for watching episodes 1 and 4, titled Shaping Hip-Hop and What's Changing, respectively. Our story begins with the first woman in hip-hop, MC Sha Rock. Sha Rock was born in Wilmington, North Carolina, but moved to the Bronx in the early 70s and got her start in 1977. She began adjacent to the microphone, performing as a B-girl or one of the top breakdancers of her crew. She actually got her start rapping by entering an audition for MCs or Masters of Ceremony. Women had a hand in virtually every aspect of the emerging culture and musical sensation, however. When we discussed the first commercial rap single the other week, Rapper's Delight, we sort of glossed over the fact that the impetus for that group coming together was Sylvia Robinson. Robinson was the CEO of Sugar Hill Records, and also deliberately cast all white women to dance in the music videos as a deliberate appeal to rap's crossover potential. From the beginning of rap, women were innovating and making genius business decisions. Roxanne Shante was the first woman to speak about the issues facing black women. Growing up in Long Island City, she used to watch what was happening in the streets from behind a pillow, peeking out her apartment window. Her mother actually used to sell underwear and sanitizing wipes to the prostitutes in Long Island City, and this is where Roxanne Shante got her hustler mentality, doing whatever she could to put money on the table, except sell her body. Her musical inspiration was the American Poet Laureate Nipsey Russell, whom she admired for his effortless ability to rhyme on a whim. Her first foray into the rap scene was entering in a rap battle with a $50 buy-in. Her mother told her to do whatever she had to do to win. The industry was not equipped for such a powerful and raw voice to come out of a young girl, and in 1984, UTFO put out the song Roxanne Roxanne. The song focused on a fictional girl who didn't want to sleep with the group. This was all a thinly veiled reference to Roxanne Shante. Her first studio single was her response to this song, with her song Roxanne's Revenge. This was a diss track, and after the song was released, she was known as the Queen of Rap Battles. This song led to a freedom of speech in black women's music. Unfortunately, misogyny has always been present in hip-hop and has been an additional hurdle that artists must overcome. Another well-known example of this was the KRS-One line, "I finally figured out her magic mouth is used for sucking, Roxanne Shante is only good for steady fucking." This song came out while Roxanne Shante was only 15 years old. However, it was meant more as a means to silence her rather than sexualize her, though both goals were in vain. Being the queen of rap battles, she clapped back with the line, "Cause I'm an all-star just like Julius Erving, and Roxanne Shante is only good for steady serving." There is and has been a premise that only one woman may be successful at a time in any given genre, and hip-hop is no exception. If you think back to previous weeks in this course, Bessie Smith was called the mother of the blues, Ella Fitzgerald was the first lady of jazz, among other examples. This, of course, was not the case, but was an effort by the music industry to isolate black women and make them feel powerless to stand up for themselves. Now, let's discuss the OGs of sisterhood, starting with MC Lyte. MC Lyte grew up in Brooklyn and went to an African school that taught socially conscious issues to their students. MC Lyte was initially inspired by Salt-N-Pepa and started writing rhymes at 12. She got her start at age 16 with the single I Cram to Understand You. This song spoke about her observed experiences growing up around the crack epidemic. She later dropped Light as a Rock, the first solo album by a female artist in hip-hop. MC Lyte was also the first female rapper to perform in the White House and was brought on stage by our next focus, Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah got her start by writing poetry, which then became writing rap rhymes. She would rap at the Latin Quarter after working her shift at Burger King. Her inspirations were KRS-One and other socially conscious rappers. Queen Latifah celebrated her blackness and the roots of Africa in Black Americans. Together with Monie Love, she created the song Ladies First, wanting to personify sisterhood. Latifah's next female anthem was the song UNITY, or Unity, speaking up for victims of domestic violence. MC Lyte was the first woman to plant her feet as a solo artist. Queen Latifah was the first to speak up for unity and sisterhood, but our next focus was the first female activist in hip-hop, Sister Souljah. Sister Souljah was an activist turned rapper who started with Public Enemy. Souljah packed what is referred to as eloquent black rage in the documentary of her music. This was a deliberate effort to remain an activist while reaching a wider audience than would attend rallies. Her music was used by then presidential candidate Bill Clinton as an appeal to the Republicans he was running against, despite his very positive polls in the black communities after appearing on Arsenio Hall and other black media. On the other side of the activist coin comes Nicki Minaj, who became an advocate for black women almost by accident. This truly began when she gave her Weak Men speech at a show. 1996 saw women in hip-hop taking a stance previously unseen with artists like Foxy Brown and Lil' Kim. Both performers emphasized and empowered themselves with the sexual content in their songs. This was dismissed at the time as being hypersexual, but is now seen as incredibly sex-positive in modern classifications. A more modern example of these same controversies nearly 30 years later was with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's sensational hit WAP. Many in the media dismissed this again as being hypersexual, but it was actually the rapper Offset from Migos who was one of the few to defend the move, saying, "As rappers, we talk about the same shit, and it's a lot of women empowerment. We never had this many female artists running shit." Some modern performers making waves are Rapsody, whom I mentioned earlier, Tierra Whack, and Kash Doll. Each artist uses their creative strengths and backgrounds to carve their own path. Rapsody grew up in the woods of Snow Hill, North Carolina, and got her start with the group Cooley High in college at NC State University. Tierra Whack uses rap as a different, nerdy, and quirky side of self-expression. She originally started rapping about what everyone around her was, like guns and drugs, but that wasn't her experience, and so she moved to making music that was true to her life. Kash Doll began as a stripper who then started rapping at the club, and through rap she empowered herself in the Detroit scene and owns her sexuality in music. Female rappers continually have overcome obstacles and have created huge waves in terms of support and care for one another in an industry that does not want them to. Sisterhood in hip-hop comes from a place of mutual respect between female-identifying voices in the industry. This has been a proponent from the very beginning of the genre, with songs like Ladies Night and I Wanna Be Down. Rapsody's first ever performance on BET was dedicated to sisterhood and lifting up the voices of hip-hop too often forgotten. Queen Latifah and countless other female artists have also used their music as a platform with which to spring into new business ventures. Queen Latifah was the one who created the blueprints for how black women can use hip-hop as a creative playground to explore other creative avenues. Her first business venture was Flavor Unit in partnership with Shakim. Latifah's and Shakim's working relationship was a true and meaningful partnership where each of them were valued equally in every decision that was made. Saweetie got her start with the song Icy Girl and has since turned it into her brand. Now a massively successful artist, she got her start in her car because she couldn't afford studio time and was inspired by Nicki Minaj to start rapping. Recently, Saweetie had a collaboration with McDonald's with the Saweetie Meal. An incredibly enthusiastic and talented performer, Latto started rapping at 8 and began doing shows at just 10 years old. She grew up in Atlanta and watched her parents pull themselves out of poverty, which instilled in her the hustle mentality. She won Jermaine Dupri's reality show, The Rap Game, as the youngest contestant, but turned down the record deal that was awarded as a prize. She turned down the deal because she already had a strong social media presence and had people streaming her music, so she needed a record deal to take her to the next level. That unfortunately was not what was offered to her. She wanted to be undeniable in her success to make it impossible to be undermined as just a woman. I personally saw her at the concert with Lizzo in July of last year. You can see in every dance move and song just how hungry of a performer she is. Hip-hop, as previously mentioned, is famously misogynistic, and gender discrimination is rampant in all aspects of the industry. For instance, Latto turned down the male feature on her album because the artist was in her DMs and she didn't want to sleep with him. This led several other artists to speak out about times that they were given ultimatums in return for record deals and features. Even though several people in the music industry championed the Me Too movement, it largely bypassed the hip-hop genre due to the gatekeepers of the industry. As the women in hip-hop have embraced sisterhood, they have also embraced queerness, and queer black women are achieving success in this genre that is seldom seen by other genres. Artists like Chika, Queen Latifah, and Da Brat have all recently and unapologetically claimed their queer status and have been applauded for it. Chika grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, to two Nigerian immigrant parents. She attributes her background to a mixture of her parents' Nigerian heritage and the southern hip-hop scene. Chika began rapping in high school, but got her start actually from winning a Bible quiz at her church. The goal was to recite 100 Bible verses with 3 or fewer mistakes, and they would receive $100. Chika won her prize and used the money to purchase her first microphone. Chika's song, Can't Explain It, takes sitcom themes and reimagined them to show her as a queer black woman loving another queer black woman. Young M.A. is another newer queer artist that embraces the masculine themes of hip-hop and owns them herself. Da Brat took 25 years to come out publicly and said it took meeting her partner, Jessica Dupart, to finally feel like it was something others needed to know about her. Queen Latifah recently came out as she sent love to her partner and son while accepting her BET Lifetime Achievement Award more than 30 years after starting her career. She said that she didn't come out beforehand because she did not want to be reduced to being the queer rapper, as our society all too often thinks people can only be one thing and can only be what makes them different. Alright, I know that was a lot, but honestly there is just too much to cover in one lecture about women and female identifying people in hip-hop. I hope you can see after watching this and the documentary how much American culture depends on black women to set the trends and move the culture forward. Enjoy our listening exam materials for this week. They are sublime, and I will see you next week. As a reminder, the study guide for Exam 2 will be posted by Friday of this week. Thanks, and see you next week.